The True Philosopher's Stone. Book of Aquarius. We in on this one in regards to the secret. To the secret. For it is no secret that the Philosopher's Stone is a secret. It wasn't always this way, but we'll leave the history for the history section. The stone being hidden and forgotten was inevitably of the age of the world which is now ending. Now begins the time that all secrets will be revealed and judged. Quote, "The present time is not ripe for the knowledge of these mysteries, for it has never tasted rest. When the time comes before the day of judgment in which the secrets of all hearts are laid bare, at that time, says Paracelsus, and I order my writings to be judged." Unquote. A dialogue by Alexander von Suchen, 16th through 17th century. So, the revealing of the stone is the catalyst which will collapse the corrupt civilization and usher in the golden age. For that golden age to occur, y'all, there has to be an enlightening of information, knowledge, and wisdom put forth back into our people. That's what we lost, y'all. We lost the understanding that we are more powerful together in a true sense, rather than allowing these organizations to lead us into a false sense of reality, of what is true, of what is right. For that feeling comes within. That's intuition. Everybody knows this. You feel it. It tugs on you when you see somebody down in pain, hurting. It tugs on you when you see the excitement in another. We love to see other people feel good. That's what we all about. The uplifting of others, the being there together as a mastermind, a group of collective individuals coming together to make one mind. It's in our nature. It is natural. For love is natural. But again, for us to move into this golden age of love and understanding, and it comes with knowledge and wisdom at the forefront. And that's why I say all the time, we have to start allowing and letting wisdom and knowledge empower our people for ages to come. It's not about just me. It's not about the wealth that I obtain. It's about what I'm doing for others. The enlightenment of fulfilling the order of the Supreme, the All, the I Am. We'll continue. But civilization must reach a truly corrupt state before it can be collapsed and reborn from the ashes. What is that, y'all? That is the phoenix, the rebirth. Corruption is necessary for the development of civilization as a whole. It's not a bad thing if you look at the big picture, but a necessary stage of development. The same holds true in the development of our stone. Quote, "When the philosophers had discovered it with great diligence and labor, they straightway concealed it under a strange tongue and in parables, lest the same should be known to the unworthy, and the pearls be cast before swine. For if everyone knew it, all work and industry would cease. Man would desire nothing but this one thing. People would live wickedly and the world be ruined, seeing that they would provoke God by reason of their avarice and superfluity. For eye hath not seen, nor ear heard, nor hath the heart of man understood what heaven hath naturally incorporated with this spirit." Unquote. The Book of Revelation of Hermes by Theophrastus Paracelsus in the 16th century. Despite the fact that the stone was destined to be secret during the passing age, most who possessed it kept the secret not for this reason, but out of elitism. Those who wanted it all, to be in control while the rest suffered. Dominance, power, greed, gluttony. What are those 7 deadly sins, huh? Most alchemists felt that they were chosen by God and that they were better than everyone else. How can someone feel chosen yet be better than everyone else? You see, when you're chosen to uplift all people. You're chosen to do the best. You're chosen to bestow love. You're chosen to receive it. You're chosen to give wisdom and knowledge and freedom to all. You're chosen to enlighten the path. You're chosen to help those in need. And you're chosen to help those who are sad. When you are chosen, you are not better than anybody. You are part of everybody. You are the spark that ignites the next for the next to spark the next, in an ongoing chain of enlightenment that ever shines. For we are the illuminated when we seek to be it, not as a chosen that is better than everybody else, but a part of everybody else, because we understand that I am you and you are we and we are us, the great I am. Continuing on. Though a large number did not even make the stone themselves, but were lucky enough to have it given to them by another, no doubt these were the ones who felt so strongly about keeping the secret. Quote, Rhasis, also in the book The Light of Lights, reports, for if I should explain all things according to what they are, there would be no further occasion of prudence, but the fool, who would be made equal to the wise man. Unquote. The Book of Chemical Art by Marsilius Ficinus, 15th century. Quote, to this objection we answer what we know to be true, that the science of this art has never been fully revealed to anyone who has not approved himself worthy by a good and noble life, and who has not shown himself to be deserving of this gracious gift by the love of truth, virtue, and knowledge. From those who are otherwise minded, this knowledge must ever remain concealed, nor can anyone attain to this art unless there be some person sent by God to instruct him in it. For the matter is so glorious and wonderful that it cannot be fully delivered to anyone but by word of mouth. Moreover, if any man would receive it, he must take a great and sacred oath, that as we, his teachers, refuse high rank and fame, so he will not be too eager for these frivolous distinctions, and that he will not be so presumptuous as to make the secret known to his own son, for propinquity of blood, or affinity, should be held of no account in this our magistry. Nearness of blood as such does not entitle anyone to be let into the secret, but only virtue, whether in those near to us or in strangers. Therefore, you should carefully test and examine the life, character, and mental aptitude of any person who would be initiated in this art, and then you should bind him by a sacred oath, not to let our magistry be commonly or vulgarly known. Only when he begins to grow old and feeble, tired of life, he may reveal it to one person, but not to more. And that one man must be virtuous and generally approved by his fellows, for this magistry must always remain a secret science, and the reason that compels us to be so careful is obvious. If any wicked man should learn to practice this art, the event would be fraught with great danger to Christendom. But such a man would overstep all bounds of moderation and would remove from their hereditary thrones those legitimate princes who rule over the peoples of our art. In order then to avoid such an outbreak of overweening pride, he who possesses the knowledge of this art should be scrupulously careful how he delivers it to another, and should regard it as the peculiar privilege of those who excel in virtue. For all the authors who deal with this subject write about it in obscure language, and not one of them declares it plainly. Nay, they beseech God to remove them suddenly out of this world if they ever write books about the grand secret. For many of them have been fearful of committing to paper more than was right about this science, and not one of them has given more than one or two plain hints respecting it. They did not write with the object of divulging their secret to the world, but in an obscurely elusive style, in order that they might be able to recognize those who understood their meaning as brothers and fellow adepts. Hence, you must not be content with reading only one book, but you should study a variety of authors, because according to the learned Arnold, one book opens up the understanding of another. The same thought is expressed by the learned Anaxagoras, who testifies that if a man will not take the trouble of reading many books, he can never attain to a practical knowledge of our art. Unquote. The Chemical Treatise, or the Ordinal of Alchemy, by Thomas Norton in 477 AD. But one must also remember that it was not all fun and games for the alchemists, y'all. A lot of them were very paranoid, and perhaps rightly so, as some people would go and do anything to get the stone. Fear was a good reason to keep quiet. Fear has always been a good reason to keep quiet. Still to this day, it keeps people quiet, conforming to opinions which they would not normally hold, which did not hold true to their family values, which did not hold true to their intuition. We can all be about love, but there's a line that must be stood. You have to stand your ground. There's a fight for the Almighty, for the all-encompassing, the good, the nature, the true, the divine, the will of all. Quote, no doubt the gentle reader has learned by the works of Sendivogius that whenever he sheathed himself openly to the powerful, he went in constant fear of his life. Experience teaches that many philosophers who gave no thought to their personal safety have been killed and deprived of their tincture by greedy and powerful robbers. And it stands to reason that anyone going about with a great treasure in his hand must fall a prey to brigands. Sendivogius concealed his name by an anagram. Thus also a short time ago another philosopher and brother of the Golden Cross, whose real name has long been familiar to me, concealed it beneath an anagram, and made himself known to his friends by an enigmatical designation. Why then should I place myself at the mercy of this impure world? Unquote. The Golden Tract Concerning the Stone of the Philosophers by an anonymous German philosopher in the 16th through 17th century. Quote, so long as the secret is possessed by a comparatively small number of philosophers, their lot is anything but a bright and happy one. Surrounded as we are on every side by the cruel greed and the prying suspicion of the multitude, we are doomed, like Cain, to wander over the earth homeless and friendless. Not for us are the soothing influences of domestic happiness, not for us the delightful confidences of friendship. Men who covet our golden secret pursue us from place to place, and fear closes our lips when love tempts us to open ourselves freely to a brother. Thus we feel prompted at times to burst forth into the desolate exclamation of Cain, whoever finds me will slay me. Yet we are not the murderers of our brethren. We are anxious only to do good to our fellow men. But even our kindness and charitable compassion are rewarded with black ingratitude that cries to heaven for vengeance. It was only a short time ago that after visiting the plague-stricken haunts of a certain city and restoring the sick to perfect health by means of a miraculous medicine, I found myself surrounded by a yelling mob who demanded that I should give to them my elixir of the sages. And it was only by the changing of my dress and my name, by shaving off my beard and putting on a wig, that I was enabled to save my life and escape from the hands of those wicked men. And even when our lives are not threatened, it is not pleasant to find ourselves, wherever we go, the central objects of human greed. I know of several persons who were found strangled in their beds simply because they were suspected of possessing this secret, though in reality they knew no more about it than their murderers. It was enough for some desperate ruffians. It was enough for some desperate Russians that were a mere whisper of suspicion that had been breathed against their victims. Men are so eager to have this medicine that your very caution will arouse their suspicions and endanger your safety. Again, if you desire to sell any large quantity of your gold or silver, you will be unable to do so without imminent risk of discovery. The very fact that anyone has a great mass of bullion for sale would in most places excite suspicion. This feeling will be strengthened when people test the quality of our gold, for it is much finer and purer than any of the gold which is brought from Barbary or from the Guinea coast. And our silver is better even than that which is conveyed home by the Spanish silver fleet. If, in order to baffle discovery, you mix these precious metals with alloy, you render yourself liable, in England and Holland at least, to capital punishment. For in those countries no one is permitted to tamper with the precious metals, except the officers of the mint, and the licensed goldsmiths, of course. I remember once going, in the disguise of a foreign merchant, to a goldsmith's shop and offering him £600 worth of our pure silver for sale. He subjected it to the usual test and then said, "This silver is artificially prepared." When I asked him why he thought so, his answer was, "I am not a novice in my profession, and I know very well the exact quality of the silver which is brought from the different mines." When I heard these words, I took myself away with great secrecy and dispatch, leaving the silver in the hands of the goldsmith. On this account, and by reason of the many and great difficulties which beset us, the possessors of this stone on every side, we do elect to remain hidden, and will communicate the art to those who are worthily covetous of our secrets, and then mark what public good will befall. Unquote. An open entrance to the closed palace of the king by an anonymous sage and lover of truth in 1645 AD. Now, there were a good number of alchemists who did want to reveal the stone to the world. Alas, they didn't, due to the vow they were made to promise by the alchemists who helped them find the stone, and because some of them knew that the time was not right. There was just too much killing going on. There was too much greed, too much control, too much immorality, that people were mindless. They were obeying commands, doing harm against each other, over riches and fame, when those in control brought about the famine. That's how it happened. You bring about the famine, and then you give out rewards. Then the people fall in this lull, as though they are meant to be in this state. They are meant to be governed. They are meant to be controlled. But before, oh, how high those kings and queens sat upon nature's glory. Did we forget who we were? Quote, "It is both customary and right, O Lasinius, that those who have accomplished anything worth mentioning in any art or science should make known their discoveries to the world, in order that mankind at large may be benefited by them. Freely ye have received, freely give. What is the use of concealed diamonds, or a hidden treasure to the world? What is the use of a lighted candle if it be lighted under a bushel? It is the innate selfishness of the human heart which makes these persons seek a pious pretext for keeping this knowledge from mankind." Unquote. The New Pearl of Great Prince by Peter Bonis, 1338 AD. Quote, "The good need not remain concealed on account of the bad men that might abuse it, for God rules over all, according to his divine will." Unquote. The Glory of the World, or Table of Paradise, by Anonymous, 1526 AD. Quote, "I account myself unworthy to speak of so great a mystery, yet I may say, without any self-glorification, that through the grace of God I have made greater progress in this magistracy than most, and I consider it as my duty not to hide the talent which my Lord and Master, the great and good God, has committed to my unworthy keeping. God gives this art to the sincere and good, nor can the world purchase it with all its gold. The vulgar know nothing of this mystery, for if any man be impious, he seeks the stone in vain. He who holds it in silence dwells where he would, and fears neither accidents, nor thieves, nor any evil. For this reason this sacred gift is granted to few, It is in the hands of God, and he gives it to whomsoever he will. Unquote. The Sophic hydrolith, or water stone of the wise, by Anonymous in the 17th century. Quote, the philosophers have contributed with an intention of hiding their first matter from the unworthy, in which they were perhaps more cautious than is necessary, for Sendivogius declares that occasionally in disclosure he had intimated the art plainly, word by word, to some who accounted themselves very accurate philosophers, but they conceived such subtle notions, far beyond the simplicity of nature, that they could not to any purpose understand his meaning. Wherefore he professes little fear of its being discovered, but to those who have it according to the good pleasure and providence of the Most High. The philosophers have hitherto industriously kept that a profound secret, some out of selfish disposition, though otherwise good men, others who wished only for worthy persons to whom they might impart it, could not write of it openly, because covetousness and vanity have been governing principles in the world, and being wise men, they knew that it was not the will of the Most High to inflame and cherish such odious tempers, the genuine offspring of pride and self-love, but to banish them out of the earth, wherefore they have been withheld hitherto. But we, finding no restraint on our mind in that respect, shall declare what we know, and the rather because we judge the time is to come to demolish the golden calf, so long had in veneration by all ranks of men, insomuch that worth is estimated by the money a man possesses, and such is the inequality of possessions that mankind are almost reducible to the rich, who are rioting in extravagance, and the poor, who are in extreme want, smarting under the iron hand of oppression. Now, the measure of inequality among the rich hastens to its limit, and the cry of the poor is come before the Lord, who will give them to eat till they shall be satisfied. Hereafter, the rich shall see the vanity of their possessions when compared with the treasures communicated by this secret, for the riches it bestows are a blessing from God, and not the squeezing of oppression. Besides, its gift excellence consists in making a medicine capable of healing all diseases to which the human body is liable, and prolonging life to the utmost limits ordained by the Creator of all things. There want not other reasons for the manifestation of the process, for skepticism has gone hand in hand with luxury and oppression. On the Philosopher's Stone, unquote, on the Philosopher's Stone by Anonymous, 12th through 17th century. So by now, what you're seeing are, the dangers of the secret itself, a little bit more in relation to the secret and why it was a secret. But again, these are the issues of the greed. And, for those who want to see and want to understand, it's there for you. It's put out there for you. It's just, what have you been putting in front of yourself as a choice that is more important? There's so many things you can choose to do, seek after, learn, know. But I think one that should always be prominent is to know thyself and the reality in which we manifest, or in which we inhabit, which we are a part of, in which we create. For this is a creation of our consciousness together. And what is the reality in which we seek to bring forth? For as we are a creation, we can create as well. Next section we're going to be going into is the yin yang, so y'all be ready. That one's coming up on the next one. Alright, peace and blessings, y'all.